dear Sebastian, Relata and the organisers of the Anzac Day commemoration. Thank you very much for what you're doing. It's just incredible that you've honoured the memory of people like my father who worked for a brief time at the sugar beet factory. I'm just privileged to have his diaries which tell us briefly of his time there, and he indicated he worked very hard, lost a bit of weight, but he was treated very, very well there. So thank you so much indeed for this commemoration. Back here in New Zealand, we spend Anzac Day commemorating the soldiers from all of the wars we've been part of. May we have peace going forward. God bless in Jesus' name.
Spotkaliśmy się dzisiaj po to, żeby uczcić 80. rocznicę wyjścia w Marsz Śmierci jeńców wojennych uwięzionych w komando E303 Petersweiler, czyli w dzisiejszych Pietrzykowicach. Drodzy Państwo, przez około 4 lata istniała tutaj filia Stalagu VIIIB w Łambinowicach. Od roku 1943 podporządkowana Stalagowi w Żaganiu. Drodzy Państwo, co wiemy o tym? Wiemy o tym, że było tutaj więźnionych około 300 jeńców wojennych z Australii, Nowej Zelandii, Wielkiej Brytanii. Byli tutaj również więzieni Francuzi. Byli dowożeni bydlęcymi wagonami do Smolca i stąd właśnie maszerowali do Pietrzykowic. Szanowni Państwo, 25 stycznia 1945 roku wyruszyli w długi marsz, który dla wielu z nich był marszem śmierci. Marszem, który skończył się 19 marca 1945 roku w okolicach Hanoweru, w jednym z tamtejszych obozów, gdzie później doczekali wyzwolenia. Szanowni Państwo, też również chciałbym przekazać wszystkim Państwu bardzo serdeczne podziękowania od syna człowieka, który był tutaj mężem zaufania, od świętej pamięci pana Stana Vincenta, nowozelandczyka. Pan Ross Vincent napisał wczoraj z podziękowaniami dla wszystkich Państwa za to, że upamiętniamy również między innymi jego datę. Ja bardzo proszę w tym momencie wyczytanie szczątkowej listy.
Mieliśmy wiele osób tutaj przytrzymywanych z różnych stron świata, z Australii, z Anglii, z Nowej Zelandii. Wśród nich m.in. byli Arthur Todd, Stephen Vincent, Oliard, Reg Glaverlin, Bob White, Harry Wilkins, Jay McConnell,
Noel Atkinson, Eddie Armour, Roy Arroll, Len Bazeley, Don Buxton, Jimmy Ferguson, Ken Bory, Graham McAllan, Charlie Petts, Shaw Pickard, Phillips, Ryan Pires, Steele, Steven Tasker.
Szanowni Państwo, jeszcze chciałem też również, żeby pani sołtyska przeczytała fragment utworu poświęcony właśnie jednemu z więźniów. Proszę.
Ludzie, których dziś upamiętniamy, należą do tych, którzy służąc swojej ojczyźnie porzucili w nich wszystko, co było im drogie. Znosili trudy, stawiali czoła niebezpieczeństwom i cierpieli niewolę w imię wolności. Niech ci, którzy przyjdą później, zatroszczą się o to, by nigdy nie zostali zapomnieni. Cześć ich pamięci.
Już coraz mniej zostało z tej dawnej cukrowni, z dawnego zakładu zakwasu Pietrzykowice. Chciałbym podkreślić, że mimo tego, że budynki już przestają istnieć, pamięć jednak się odradza i bardzo się cieszę, że tutaj się zebraliśmy i pamiętamy właśnie o tym wydarzeniu, o tym, że ludzie z drugiego końca świata byli tutaj w Pietrzykowicach, w polskich Pietrzykowicach przed wojną, więzieni i często oddawali życie za tak naprawdę nie ich wojnę. Będziemy chcieli upamiętnić też, stworzyć miejsce tutaj w Pietrzykowicach na to, aby móc się spotykać w warunkach dużo bardziej godnych temu wydarzeniu.
wszystkich, którzy polegli w obronie swoich ojczyzn, za tych, którzy byli ofiarami II wojny światowej. Wieczne odpoczywanie racz im dać, Panie. Wieczne odpoczywanie racz im dać, Panie.
A światłość wiekuista niechaj im świeci.
Wieczne odpoczywanie racz im dać, Panie.
A światłość wiekuista niechaj im świeci.
Niech odpoczywają w pokoju wiecznym.
My warmest greetings to Sebastian, Kotlarz, and the people of Pietrzykowice. My family are very pleased that Sebastian has taken the time and effort to research the history of when British Commonwealth prisoners of war were put to work at the E303 Petersweiler sugar factory. I'm the youngest of 4 sons of my father, Cyril Robert Frederick Blackmore. My father was married to my dear mother, Doreen, just 1 month before he departed for Egypt in January 1940. He served in Greece and was finally captured in Crete in June 1941. He ultimately ended up at Lamsdorf Stalag VIIIB and from there was attached to various work camps outside of the Stalag. He arrived at Petersweiler October 21st, 1942 to work at the sugar beet factory. He was just 24 years old then. My father never spoke of his wartime experiences, but we are lucky enough to have his wartime diaries, where he had recorded this period of history. He has recorded his time at the factory and reports of having to tighten his belt due to weight loss. He recorded the time when the factory was quiet, so that a couple of guards took a group of them for a walk around the villages. He was able to see the great Autobahn Road. One day, my wife and I would love to visit your village, to walk where my father walked, and to see the wonderful memorial plaque that has been installed to commemorate this time in our history. It is a great honour that a segment of my father's poetry is included in the plaque. I have 2 books of his and other prisoners' poems from this time. The unusual thing was that until he passed away, we had no idea he was a poet. I am very proud of my father. It is a wonderful thing that he will be part of your commemoration, and I'm looking forward to receiving a copy of the book. Thank you, dear people of Pietrzykowice, and thank you, Sebastian, in your efforts to record the small piece of history. May God bless you all. I am Cyril Blackmore.
My name is Dee McCleery. My father was George Henry Cartwright, a British soldier in World War II. He lived in Wales, and in 1939 he was 21 years of age. He went with the British Expeditionary Force to northern France. He was a dispatch rider. On June 11th, 1940, at St. Valery-on-Coe, he was wounded by a bullet through his right elbow whilst on his motorbike. He managed to stay on the motorbike and got away. However, there was no escape from St. Valery, and on June the 12th, he was captured. He was transported in cattle trucks in cramped, squalid conditions and was imprisoned in Stalag VIIIB. My father was in Lamsdorf from February 1941 until about October 1943. From Lamsdorf, he transferred to Teschen until January 1945. As a prisoner, he worked down coal mines, which he said was tough, on the railway and in a sugar beet factory. He told me that although the work was hard, he preferred to work as it made the time pass more quickly. He enjoyed being outdoors, so I am guessing that he probably worked in the fields at the sugar beet factory. In January 1945, with little time to prepare and poorly equipped, he was suddenly on the long march. The winter weather conditions were extreme, blizzards and severe frost. He had made a sledge out of a tabletop to drag a few possessions. These next few months were grueling and were a test of his spirit and resilience. Prisoners on the marches suffered from hypothermia and frostbite. My father died in 2013, aged 95. He often spoke about the feelings of hunger. He remembered the deprivation and the ones who who never made it back home. He told me he was lucky to have survived. I am honoured to have been asked to make this video as a contribution to the Anzac Day commemorations. I am grateful to the people who work behind the scenes to keep the memories of the POWs alive. Also, to remember sadly the people who made the ultimate sacrifice. It is important that the memory of these people should never be forgotten. Thank you to all of you who are involved.
This is Thames, a small town in New Zealand where I live. It's a long way from Pietrzykowice, but we have a connection. My father, Stan Vincent, was in the New Zealand Army during World War II. He became a prisoner of war and man of trust at the E303 Petersweiler POW camp, where he worked in the sugar factory workshop for about 3 years. Hello, I'm Ross Vincent. Greetings to everyone at the book launch. I was lucky to visit your village in 2009. I was keen to see where my father had been during his time as a POW. I'd heard about the sugar factory since I was a child, so it was great to spend time in your village. Sebastian, thank you for doing the book. I'm sure it will be very well received, and all the best to everybody at the launch.